Hey, how's it going? Dave here, and in today's video, I'm joined again with my friend Caleb.
Hi.
And this is part 2 on the studio recording series. So in this video, we're going to take this guitar here, which isn't set up at all. There's multiple things wrong with it. And we are going to record a riff with the guitar as it is, and then take you through the steps to improve the guitar and set the guitar up. And then we're going to record the riff again just to show you how much of a difference of a sound you can get just by making sure your guitar is perfectly set up. So let's get started and play the riff. Alright, so the first step we need to take to improve the sound of your guitar is make sure it's correctly intonated. And do you want to talk about intonation?
The intonation is to do with your bridge saddles and how they're set up. And basically, what you want is to when your string's in tune, to be able to play the 12th fret and it still be perfectly in tune. Now, to demonstrate, this isn't set up well at all.
It's pretty gross, isn't it? Yeah.
There's a weird little dissonance going on there which you don't want. Now, to fix that, you're gonna take your screwdriver, and if the note at the 12th fret is sharp when the string is regularly in tune, you're going to want to tighten the screw and it'll pull the bridge saddle back, thus making this longer, which will drop the pitch. And basically you just want to keep doing that and keep checking until the string is perfectly in tune at the 12th fret as well as open. And that's your guitar will be intonated.
Fantastic. So we are going to go ahead and intonate the guitar before we move on to the next step. Awesome, so now the guitar is intonated. Should we have a listen to how it sounds now? Cool, fantastic. So I think it's maybe not 100% there, but it definitely sounds a lot better.
Once that's all set up, everything sounds much nicer, and you're going to be able to play chords. I mean, not that you play chords that high up the neck, but everything will be good. And I think it does have a slight knock-on effect down here as well, so just make sure your guitar is intonated.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So the next step would be to change the strings. Okay, so what strings have you got now?
These are some dead old 1052s. So I'm going to change these out for a nice fresh pack.
Awesome. Cool. So let's get to that now. Alright, now we've changed the strings up. We've got some nice fresh strings on the guitar, and we've made a few more adjustments to the intonation just to get it perfect. What is the next step?
The next step is to tape off excess string. Now, this is particularly important if you're doing metal. You're doing a lot of percussive parts, like kind of like palm muted. Or in some cases, if you're doing like kind of staccato riffs, you want to tape off the strings above the nut, and in this case, behind the bridge, because they will ring out. That doesn't seem obvious, but it comes up in a recording, and it can really mess with your tone. Now, also, in my case, I have a trem system. What you might want to do is tape off your springs as well, because that creates kind of like a natural spring reverb in the guitar, which can sometimes get through into your pickups and give you like this weird kind of reverby sound into your tone, which isn't obviously you don't want that if you want really super tight kind of metal stuff. So yeah, just a bit of tape. Doesn't have to be a bit of tape. You can use foam, or there's companies like Fret Wrap and Jimmy Clip that make them, or just use an old sock, really. If you've got an old sock that's got holes in it, it's unloved, like, just give it a bit more love. Just use it as a if you're recording, yeah. Obviously, maybe not live.
Sure.
Don't want your old sock live, but yeah. Also, another tip with that: if you're doing lead parts, wrap something around your neck. So when you're playing up here, if you accidentally hit an open string, especially when tapping, it's not going to ring out and give you a lot of horrid noise.
Awesome, cool. I'd also suggest as well, if you're playing a riff or a lick that only uses not all the strings basically, then any strings that you're not using you can kind of tape off without taping off the other ones. Alright, so we've taped the guitar up now, so do you want to show off your lovely taping work? Lovely. So that is probably the final step for us for setting up the guitar, but there are probably a few more things that you should take into account if any of these things apply to you. So first of all is wiring. So do you want to talk about wiring?
Wiring, you want to make sure all your connections in the back, all in here, are all healthy, because you don't want your guitar to be crackling and hissing or cutting out mid-recording. So just make sure everything's solid. If it needs it, bit of solder, which is easy enough to do, and boom, strong connections. Your guitar's gonna be playing nice and clean, and you're not gonna die in the middle of a take and then be like, and then lose an entire day because your guitar's cut out on you.
Another thing that you might want to think about is your signal chain. So do you want to talk a little bit about the signal chain, what to kind of prioritize or what to do there?
So yeah, you want a very, very specific signal chain. You want to go into a tuner. Then if you've got any sort of dynamics control, such as a compressor, or if you have something like a filter, like an EQ pedal or a wah, you want to go tuner, compressor, or dynamics, or whatever it is. Then you go into your filter, any pitch shifters you have. Then you want to have your distortion, such as your overdrive, your distortion pedals, any sort of gain pedal you want there. Then maybe a gate if you want to clean up your sound. Then modulation, such as choruses and flanges and stuff like that you want after that. Then time-based stuff, so delay and then reverb, and then finally maybe a volume pedal, and that's typically a good signal chain. Probably a bit more useful for live, but in the studio, if you have to have your whole pedal board set up, that's the order you want to run things. Because obviously in the studio, you can track things to separate tracks with just the one effect, so you don't need to worry about it too much. But it is still applicable. It's still good to know.
Sure. And what is the purpose of us having a signal chain in this specific order? What does it achieve?
It basically it cleans up your tone. There are certain things that can come from having a different, like that. I will say now, that's an ideal clean one. You can obviously have it intentionally wrong for creative sound reasons. If you want it to sound really weird, you might put a delay before a distortion or what have you. But that's the best clean way to have it if you just want a good sound, really.
Sure. So there's one more thing we need to talk about, and that is your pickup height. So your pickup height is important because
it affects the tone, because the closer the pickup is to the strings, the hotter your signal is going to be, or the louder it's going to be, and pickups have different qualities depending on how close they are to the string.
Fantastic. So you can go and experiment with that as well. So now let's listen to how the riff sounds with our set-up guitar. Alright, so from that second recording, there's a few noticeable different changes from the setup that we've done there. The new strings have made the whole thing sound a bit brighter, a bit more crisp. What else have we got? The tape.
Yeah, the tape has tightened up the sound completely. It's cut out any excess ringing, which is going to create harmonics that are just going to cause interference to the sound you want. And it's ultimately, it's just cleaner and tighter.
Fantastic. So now you know what to do to improve your sound before even playing anything in the studio. So do those things to make sure you get the best possible results. Before we finish up, Caleb, do you want to one more time plug all your things? Yeah.
Couple of bands, Kesagaki, Red Shores, and I own and operate 3007 Studios. I produce, mix, and master stuff. So if you're making a metal record, hit me up and I'll sort you out.
And thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video. See you later.